No, it's a great day for us. With these two young men joining us, Bonzie Colson and Martin Gebbin, we really targeted frontline guys after recruiting what we thought was a very good perimeter and one frontline guy in the current freshman class. But to come back and add these two guys, I'm really excited. Again, they're great fits for us. Spent a lot of time through last year. Certainly it heats up in the spring when you're out now with those April weekends where we can go out and evaluate. Through July, you're on it. You get off the road in August, you're grinding it right up through. So two guys that'll be ready to play as freshmen and need to be ready to play as freshmen because we lose Garrick Sherman and Tom Knight.
Christian, do you have any questions for Mike?
Yeah, Coach, Bonzie's been described as kind of an undersized power forward who has kind of a unique game. Can you just talk about how you see him fitting and what you guys liked about, how you think he could fit with his size in your program?
Yeah, I think with Bonzie, the worst thing you could do is put a position on him. Say he's a 4 or a power forward. Bonzie truly is a basketball player, and he's a beautiful basketball player. His feel for the game is much older than 18 years old. Of course, he grew up the son of a very good basketball player. His father, Bonzie Sr., Dunbar, D.C., Rhode Island, a guy that I know back from the Washington, D.C. area. And then his father coached at Boston College during their great run. So he's the dinner table talk around that house is hoops. And it's not a surprise that he has a very high basketball IQ, a feel for the game. He's one of those guys, and I'll make a Herringody comparison just in the ability to find the basket. He scores the ball from a lot of different places. He's undersized, but the body is interesting in that the wingspan is long. So he makes up for maybe 6'5", 6'6" in height with about a 7-foot wingspan.
Unique experience going overseas and playing in the World Championships this summer. How do you think that'll help his maturity?
Well, the one thing about Martin Gebbin, that he's a product of the Lithuanian national program now, that can only help us and help him become a better player. He's got something that no one else on our team has, playing in the Lithuanian national program. And, as we know, Lithuania has produced great basketball players. It is, I remember on his visit, I asked him, it is their number one sport. I said, what's number two? He said, we don't have a number two sport. It's nothing but hoops in Lithuania. He's 6'10". What's exciting about Martin is he's 240 already. He's got a great body and strength on him already. And certainly with the bodies similar to him that we're losing, Sherman and Knight, he becomes an important guy right away. What I loved about him is high energy guy, physical guy already at a young age, loves playing post defense, is good with the basketball. Both of these guys stay in that trademark of our program, big guys that can make decisions with the basketball, good with the ball, can make a 15, 18-footer. And all I know is my trainer, Skip Meyer, still keeps talking about the pickup game he played here and how good he was. So, and the security guy tells me he's going to start next year. So, I mean, I got the true scouting report.
Chris, do you have any questions?
Sure. Coach, you mentioned that these guys need to come in and play right away. What other skills do they have on the court that kind of leads you to make the conclusion that they can come in and join the rotation right away?
Chris, staying with what we really look for, feel for the game and high basketball IQ, big guys that are good with the basketball has been a key part of our offensive efficiency. And, both of those guys really know how to play. I mean, they know how to play with other good players. I think both of them physically are ready to play as young guys. The great thing about both of them, they have a summer to get ready, and we go on a foreign tour. So in August in Italy, they will play 4 or 5 college basketball games before they even start their official freshman year. So it'll be a really great way to evaluate them with next year's group and to get them ready because they're going to need to contribute.
Does anyone else have any questions on the line for about our recruiting?
Yes, I do.
Okay, could you identify yourself, please?
Tim Kelby with the Herald Mail in Hagerstown.
Hagerstown, Maryland. How you doing, partner?
Hi, Coach. How are you doing? A great day for you.
Great day.
My question, I think we've talked about this before. To me, that the fact that Martin has a lot of resemblance of Aaron Goody and Cooley and what he's going to bring to the table for you as a freshman.
Well, I mean, he's ready. He's really ready to do stuff for us because of the physicality. I mean, you know, he's 200. I want to say he's 235 to 240, and that's before he's gotten into our strength program. And I think he'll make big jumps in the 6 weeks this summer. Again, playing in the national program, he's playing against other big guys. He's playing against older guys over there in Lithuania, their senior team. Just great experiences for him. He has been, both of these young men, certainly, but Martin has been so well coached by Coach Rayfield there at Maria Goretti. Guys that are coming out of programs that are really well coached. Amrit Rayfield's done a fabulous job with his development. He's made huge jumps from his sophomore year, certainly to where he is now. But I think the physicality and the energy that he plays with, he's a guy that can help you right away as a freshman.
Just one follow-up, Coach. During the course of you and your staff watching him, it had to mean a great deal the fact that Martin, as a junior, was player of the year in the Baltimore Catholic League.
We love the connection to the Baltimore Catholic League. Eric Atkins, a player of the year in the Baltimore Catholic League, and we've gone back to the well. Baltimore Catholic League basketball, I know firsthand, being a Washington, D.C. Catholic League guy, great basketball, great coaching, really good competition. If you're a player of the year in a conference like that, you're a heck of a player. And I know he is really set to lead his team to even a deeper run this year.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Any other questions before we take questions from those who are here?
I don't want to say it was easy, but how seamless did it seem like this recruiting was, where you identified these guys early with all the other things you had going on, ACC, Big East, identified them early, got them on campus, narrowed it down. It just seemed like you were really on them early on.
Yeah, it was pretty smooth. And I think these two guys, even when we got off the road, I always look at it as recruiting can't just be a one-way street. When guys are giving you signs that they like you too and are returning calls or just reaching out and calling you, especially me when I get off the July circuit, and from August till now, it's really my stuff to handle. Martin and Bonzi both were always reaching out, and you felt, there was a strong interest, and it helped you make decisions with other guys because of the vibe you get there. I think, too many times it's just a one-way street reaching out. And when you get that feedback, again, I spoke to Martin. He was in Lithuania when he got off the road. I spoke to him a lot in Lithuania, just catching up with him there, and probably every day while I was down at my beach place. I probably talked to him every day and down there. And I think he was bored in Lithuania, so he talked to Coach. But no, they were, it's funny, both of them, and this is what the program has established. The people around the program, high school coaches, early on both said, oh, these would be really good. These guys would be great fits at Notre Dame. They'd be really good in your system, Mike. Pat Clatchy, who coached Eric Atkins, told us about Gebbin when he was in 10th grade. Said, this is your kind of guy. Leo Papil, who runs BABC and scouts for the Celtics, he called Inglesby, beginning of last year, said, this is your kind of guy. And so we have a lot of people that work for us now out there. They've watched our system. They've watched how we played and said, these are your kind of guys, and these guys were, and it was certainly very smooth. Families that understood, what this place could do, certainly after basketball too.
Gebbin said when he committed that one of the things that really attracted him was the Atlantic Coast Conference. How much of a factor was the ACC in giving you guys maybe that extra boost this recruiting season?
I think it really helped us with both of these guys, especially, Martin, that he's going to play back close to his host family there in Hagerstown, Maryland. That was a great thing to sell, and I think it's it's a great thing to sell with this next group too. Bonzi, obviously his dad was at BC when they made the jump to the ACC, so he had a feel that, Bonzi's gone to Greensboro to the ACC tournament a heck of a lot more than me, in the last couple of years. He knows Greensboro better than anybody in our program because he was down there with the BC team. So, guys that know how to play, guys that can help us right away. And the great thing is we'll get them in our strength program and our practicing once a week deal. Then we'll have about 7-8 practices right at the end of July, early August, and we go to Italy and play. Great for them.
Initial visits to a minimum number, 4 or 5 guys a year. Is that an ideal situation for you?
Yeah, I think we really do recruit with a rifle. It's not a shotgun method, and you kind of really zero in on guys. And I'm always nervous when we get off the road in August. On our A list, we don't have more names, and I voiced that a couple times as we got into September and we had yet to have a commitment. We went into this year under a little bit of pressure because we didn't have a commitment, and we at least had one. And so I was a little concerned. You're dealing with 5, and then it becomes 4 when it got. But you know what's funny? It kind of worked itself out, and we got the guys we should have got at the end of the day, and they're great fits for us.
Mike, little different approach recruiting-wise when you're looking specifically for somebody that may be able to contribute or that you want to contribute right away.
Yeah, and you know what though, Tim? Almost everybody I recruit now wants to know about how he can contribute right away. It's there's not a whole lot of guys say, Coach, man, I'd love to come to Notre Dame and I'll be ready as a junior.
But your approach and who you're looking for.
Well, I think what both of these guys saw, what we sold to all those front line kids was we're losing Sherman and Knight. We're losing 2 fifth-year senior big guys. The only other big guys still in the program are August, Burgett, at that point hadn't proven anything, and Eric Katenda, who had just had tough luck with injuries. So I think both of these kids looked and said, God, they're a little, you come and watch us practice. You said, and then what we sold, look down at the big guy shooting drill. He's gone. And they're looking and going, doing the math, going, okay, I got a chance to play. That's it. Now go look down there where the guards. See those young guards? You get to play with those guys. And that was a big selling point, too, the 3 freshman guards we have.
Mike, you touched on this. You had 2 of those freshman guards committed for over a year before you signed them. How different was it this time around going into September, not knowing exactly who you're?
More stressful for the head coach. I sure would have, the other thing too is we started practice September 27th. I wasn't mentally ready to start practice September 27th because you're still in recruiting mode, and I really was in recruiting mode because you don't have anybody. Now, you felt really good about these guys, even in early August. The vibes you were getting back is we were in great position. We probably were the leader for them, but then that makes you nervous. You don't want to lose, you don't want to screw it up. All you can do is screw it up. So, I would love to have a commitment before, next September, before next Labor Day. But, every year is kind of different. And, anytime we try and make this an exact science in recruiting, it goes out the door. At the end of the day, it really worked out good for us. But I was more nervous than my assistants. And I said, what's wrong with this picture? Do we have any more? Can we put another guy up on the A list there? And anyways, hopefully we can have one committed before next Labor Day.
What do you want to do with the extra scholarship?
I think you have an open mind to everything. There's always a senior that could emerge. That's a longer shot in this day and time, but you never know. Russell Carter was a pretty good spring signee for us and had a heck of a career. So you always are evaluating that, and we'll get a bunch of calls on kids that are having great senior years probably. The transfer situation certainly is something to really evaluate this spring. I think the timing for a transfer in our program would be excellent to have a guy sitting out, and then, you got an old guy ready to go in a year.
And then what kind of mix are you looking for in 2015?
Yeah, that's something we still kind of been debating. What do you need? I still think you need some frontline, some more frontline guys, and a shooter. Obviously we've done a lot with wing guys who can shoot the ball. A couple of them been on our campus officially, just a big-time shooter. Do we need a point guard? I don't. Do we need another point guard? I mean, Vestoria and Jackson do a pretty good job handling the ball for us, but is that something we evaluate? Do we need another point guard in the program, given we'll lose Eric and Jaron, two guys who can really handle the ball? But my focus has kind of been, that big shooter and another frontline guy. If we could get a big transfer sitting out, like a Sherman, that would be a pretty good way. I'll take a Ryan Humphrey if there's any of them out there, by the way.
Do you remind yourself that you really have 3 guys coming in because you bring B-Shy back next year, and it's almost like, well, we have 2, but it's really 3.
Yeah, we have, and we Torres, we're adjusting his eligibility. It's we've got some bodies coming back, and then Connaughton and Grant could be back too. So it's the unknown of Connaughton and Grant make you a little nervous, but every time I see our young guards, and I know B-Shot is going to get older and stronger, you feel like, okay, we got 4 bodies there that are really going to be good for us. But you still have some good young guys, and you can evaluate what you need in the spring by watching your team. What is Eric Contender going to do for us when he gets back? Is he going to be healthy? Can he help us? I think we're still trying to figure that out. He's just had no luck on the injury front.
What's the unknown on Connaughton? The June draft?
Yeah, I mean, I always wonder if he wants to play. If he has a great year, he's drafted high, and somebody says, by the way, here's $1 million, you can't play hoops. I'm a big boy. I think he's got to do what he's got to do. I would respect any decision he makes. I know he wants to finish his basketball career. He has been very strong about that, and I think that's what will happen. But I'm kind of planning. You always got your contingency plans just in case.
What's the impact of Brigette coming back this year? Not last year.
Yeah, Austin. Well, Austin was eligible last year. We didn't redshirt him. He played. We discussed a redshirt. He decided against it. Having said all that, Austin Brigette has had a huge impact right now on our basketball team. I mean, him coming off the bench and getting in there and giving us that 4-round-1 look, the ability to spread a defense out, make a shot. He's an active rebounder. He's a post defender. He's a great screener. Our 3 veteran perimeter guys love playing with Austin Brigette. That's all I need to say. He's going to be very important to our season.
Does anyone else have any recruiting questions? Christian, do you have any questions about the Indiana State game?
No.
Okay. Chris?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
How do you get the casual fan to understand this is not your normal Sunday afternoon home game in November?
Yeah, I've done a few things. It'll be out on our website. Was in the dorms last night, and I make the usual swing through the dorms this time of year anyways, but my theme was, and I'll do more of it later in the week in the dining halls, is like this is an ACC game. We could use an ACC kind of crowd for this game. Let's practice our ACC crowd and 6-man helping us because they're very good, and it's going to be a tough game, and it's a great challenge for us, and that's why we scheduled it. But they're coming up here extremely confident, veteran group, well coached, knows how to play, ACC kind of preparation.
It's not like you need to get these guys' attention, but do you say they won at Wichita State last year before Wichita State went to the Final Four?
Absolutely. Already mentioned that one, and I'll get into it more on Friday. But we've kind of used this week to try and really focus on us. And actually, we're going to bring the refs in tonight because I think we got to play. It's too long between games waiting a week. So we're going to do some different game situations and play. And then we'll come back and get into Indiana State a little bit tomorrow and a lot on Friday and Saturday. But I think that's it for me. That's great. All right, the buzzer. I think it's like the Gong Show. They gong me. Remember that show? That's it. He's out. Our guys know how good they are. I don't have to. They know how good they are.
Circling back to Austin, he checks in the other day, and one of his first possessions, he throws it away trying to get it to Sherman. Maybe last year he comes right out. Where's the level of trust with him this year as opposed to last year?
Yeah, I think I need him to play through stuff because I didn't want to do anything to mess with his confidence. He's just really important for us, and And those were very un-Austin-like. He forced a post feed to Sherman, and then he threw that high-low, and then he settled down. I don't want him looking over his shoulder because we need him to be confident.
And then, but after that, he kind of settled down, and he was who he was.
Yes.
Or what he's been after.
Yeah. And you know, the one thing, and Tom, you've seen me more than anybody in here. I mean, we're not really try not to yank guys right after a mistake. And I told him that before the first game. I said, look, I'm not into yank. I said, but if you dwell on it and hang your head, then I'm going to get you out. Get on to the next play. With Austin right now, I don't want him thinking he's on a yo-yo because he's really going to be important for us.
It seems like there have been a lot of close games between big teams and what would be perceived as easy opponents early in the season. Did you talk to your team about that and use that as kind of a warning for this week?
I always put up scores. I'll put up the Indiana score on the board today from last night. I mean, we've been pretty fortunate. The last time we got bit was Loyola Marymount here, and it's been a while, but it can happen anytime if you're not ready to go. So I always kind of make our guys aware of that. I'll put a score up on the board. Certainly, when we get into Friday and Indiana State preparation, I'll have that Wichita State score up on the board before we get started.
Mike, kind of a big picture question, but now that you've seen it in action a little bit, how are the rule changes, the hand check stuff, how is that affecting games and the way they're being played?
I think it's going to be good in the long run. I think we have some growing pains right now, but that the game is going to be able to flow and guys can move and drive. And, there's been some long games with a lot of fouls, but there's also been, I think there have been more games, those are the ones that are written about or tweeted about. There's been more games where kids have adjusted. And, the foul totals aren't very high because coaches and players are learning to adjust. Selfishly, for our program, I love those rules because we have been a skilled group, and I'd like my guards to be able to move without getting rugby shucked or whatever, they do. But there's going to still be some growing because you're going to have a national TV game that takes a long time and there's a lot of free throws. There's going to be some whining. I think we've all decided we're going to bite the bullet and it's a process, and that these are absolutes are great and not points of emphasis, because under the points of emphasis umbrella, they always faded by January 15th, usually when we played Pitt.
Mike, I know it's just 2 games and the level of competition isn't what it's going to be, but is there anything that you come out of those 2 games saying, hey, we might be pretty good at this, we might be able to do that a little bit more?
A couple things. Offensively, we're really good with the ball. I think we're one of the best passing teams in the country, maybe the best, and we willingly pass it. I firmly believe that. I told them that the other day. Which leads to our offensive efficiency. We're able to run more. We're able to get easy buckets in transition. That's exciting, to get some easy buckets. On the defensive end, where I think our positioning has been solid, especially the veteran guys, they've played as much on the defensive end as they had the offensive end. They know how to play off of each other. The defensive rebounding will be a concern as the bodies get bigger and the athletes get bouncier. And that's not just our front line or one guy on our front line. That's a team effort that we're going to have to keep coming back to and drilling. You got to be careful. You got to be careful, like right now, if you hammer rebounding and you're doing all these blocks, I don't want to get anybody hurt right now. So it's a little bit more of a mental, watching some film, instead of, okay, we're gonna do rebounding drills for 10 minutes, because it's fragile right now. But I think I've got good enough students where you can talk to them about it and there's carryover. There'll be a day where we have to just rebound for 30 minutes. It's probably not yet, though.
I think the last time we got together in here, you talked about having that one rebounder that you could always count on. But like in Hansbro's last year, your 27-7 year, you got contributions throughout the entire lineup. Is one better than the other? Maybe is that better?
If you can be plus on the backboard, I'll take either. But this year, we certainly trend toward a balanced rebounding attack like that team. And I think when it's all said and done, it'll be spread across there similar to that team.
Watching games yesterday, is it still a little different for you guys? You have to remind yourself you're in the ACC, where 2 years ago maybe you were watching West Virginia. Now you got to watch Virginia Tech. You're watching Cincinnati, North Carolina State. You have to pay more attention to North Carolina State instead of Cincinnati.
Great point. I watched all three of those teams yesterday differently than I've ever watched them before. Virginia Tech bounces back. They get beat at home. They get a great win over West Virginia. I watched NC State, and I watched Duke, and I watched them all very differently, kind of mental notes, jotting a few things down. I'll be doing that a lot up through December, and I think we probably have to spend some time again as a staff, like exam week when we have a gap, looking at some film of Boston College, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, and Virginia, because those are 8 of our league games.
Did you see Virginia last night?
I didn't see Virginia. I was doing some things in the dorm. From what I understand, they were in great position, missed some free throws, and couldn't finish it. You know, obviously VCU is really good, and but I didn't see them. But you know, they had to score where they wanted it. You know, that's how they play. That thing was down in there, but you know, I mean, that's one thing I've been proud of. Like, you get to that point on a really good team, and you're at home and you can play with emotion. Now it gets down to the last 4 minutes. Can you win it? Can you win it? And that's the one thing I've been proud about in this building. We have been able to close people out. They're putting game pressure on you. We're good here. Crowd's great. Uh-oh, they just tied it with 3 minutes to go. We've been able to finish, make big free throws, make a big key, take a key charge. I mean, and that's interesting. I'm going to bring that point up today, because you can talk all you want about now last 3 minutes. Can you win it? Certainly with that perimeter, those 3 guys have finished a lot of games confidently.
How hard was it to go to sleep last night after watching Jabari Parker?
Ooh, he's pretty good, isn't he? All 3 of those guys are really good, aren't they? But Parker's a great talent, and you know, they're still kind of feeling themselves out. They've got a lot of new faces. When you lose, Duke lost 3 men last year. Those guys were men. Now they're really talented. They're amazingly athletic. They don't really play a post guy, so it's an interesting matchup for us if we're playing 2 big guys. How do you guard them? But how do they guard us? And you know, all those things are going through your head. Thanks, guys.